national anthem, so to welcome choir to lead us in our national anthem. Then from there we will have Dr. Elkanah leading us in devotional thought and opening prayer. Our guests, all of them are here. So we are looking forward for great things. So those who are outside, kindly come in choir.
Vice Chancellor and the conference participants, we now request you to rise so that we can perform the national anthem.
Amani 1 Chronicles chapter 12, verse 32 to 33. It reads, NIV version, "And of the sons of Issachar, men who understood the times with knowledge of what Israel should do, their chiefs were 200, and their kinsmen were at their command. The context of this chapter is the time when King Saul had died, and his son also had died, and David ruled a section of Israel, Hebron, for 7.5 years. The chapter records the delegation from all the Israelites who went down to Hebron to invite David to expand his rule to encompass the entire nation of Israel. The children of Issachar were part of a delegation, although the fewest of all and from the remote areas were notable people in this, when you read these verses. During this time, Israel lived in turbulent times. There was a leadership crisis. The Jewish people were divided on whether their loyalty would continue in the family of the departed monarch, who was a Benjamite, or to be transferred to the hands of the newly anointed king. And so the nation of Israel at this period was at the crossroads. Issachar was one of the sons of Jacob. In biblical history, these were men who were valiant soldiers. Although not many details is given about these men, the chronicler, or the person who wrote the Chronicles, points out two notable traits or attributes that are instructive for us today as professionals in various fields. The first one is that these people understood the times. The Hebrew word, yada, means to have insight or to act with prudence. This form of understanding from this word, an insight expressed by this word, comes from several epistemic sources like observation, deliberation, experience, and inquiry. Presumably, these men studied the times, the past, the present, and the future. They observed and formed patterns, distinguished between, analyzed, and evaluated reality. These were men who cared and were concerned about the times the people lived in. We can rightly infer that they were simply good students of their own context and surrounding. As a result, this gave them wisdom, discernment, skill, and expertise in dealing with public affairs. In the ancient Near East, kings usually consulted wise men on public matters. You can read that in the book of Esther, chapter 1, verse 13. This included astrologers and astronomers who solely specialized in natural times and physical science. Natural times and physical science, which involved fixing the beginning of months and years, reading signs and stars, and advising people on farming seasons. These advisors, like the Pharisees and the Sadducees of Jesus' time, knew how to interpret the appearance of the sky, but cannot interpret the signs of the times. Matthew chapter 16, verse 3. And like the men of Issachar, these men, astrologers and astronomers, lacked spiritual insight into the times. Distinctively, these men of Issachar had superior wisdom. This is divine wisdom and intelligence. They understood two things. First, they understood the one who controls the times. Daniel, chapter number 2, verse 21 and 22, that it is he who changes the times and the epochs. He removes kings and establishes kings. He gives wisdom to the wise and knowledge to men of understanding. They had an understanding of God who controls the times and the seasons, according to Genesis chapter 3. They understood the kind of a leader that Israel needed at this particular time. Through the understanding of the word of God, these men knew that it was the right time for the Lord's anointed one, David, to rule over the entire house of Israel. The second thing on that is that they understood the nature of the times and the world. You can also expand that, interpret that scripture also using Ephesians chapter 5, verse 15 to 20. Today there are many good things happening in our society. and there is evidence that God is at work. But there are also many wrong things happening in our society today. There's a lot of hopelessness, there's a lot of immoralities, there's a lot of idolatry, materialism, atheism, and false philosophies. Every age has its own challenges that necessitates the redeeming work of Jesus Christ. Evil times require wise and watchful living and seizing of opportunities. These men understood from God's word what God says about the times. Today, the society is at crossroads, dealing with ethical, social, economic, religious, political, and technological challenges, among others. Also, the times have seen rise in many of these challenges I've mentioned. As Christian scholars, what does it mean to understand the times? What does it mean to understand God's word? What does it mean to understand God's will? What does that involve? I think, I will not attempt to answer that because of time, but I think we need to listen more, investigate further, ask good questions, discern forces behind the physical world and behavior, influence trends in our circles, address real needs rather than felt needs, and so we need to scratch beyond the surface. People who understand the times also understand their duties in those times. People who understand the times also have an insight into what those times require. A proper understanding of the times should cause us to be wise, to engage and set standards even on godly matters. The second and the last thing I want to mention about these men of Issachar, the second attribute that the scripture mentions, is that they knew what God's people ought to do. Apart from having the insight into the times, these men of Issachar knew what the people of God should do. In fact, specifically in this case, they knew that it was time to crown David as the anointed leader of the entire house of Israel. Their understanding and spiritual insight found application in their current situation. It's not enough to understand the Lord's will and purposes. We should really execute it in our times. A right understanding of our times ought to lead to proper actions that involve application of truth. As Christian scholars, apart from having a skill, having a technical know-how in our various areas of expertise, God calls us to offer practical solutions that flourish human life and bring transformation to God's people and God's world. This is because God has called us to be agents in this world. I want you to ponder on this question as I bring this to a close. When there is a challenge or a crisis in society, are academics or universities seen as part of the solution, or are they seen as part of the problem? Impactful scholarship must be directed by intelligence, defined wisdom, inspired by Christian commitments, and embodied by practical solutions. As such, scholarship should offer guidance to the challenges that face God's people and God's world. As I close, knowing the times we live in and having an insight on what should be done will make us be useful for God's purposes of transforming lives and society. May God bless us as we continue in the deliberations of this conference in the next few days, that will be like men of Issachar who understood the times, understood the trends in their various areas of life, and also knew what should be done. Let's pray. Dear Lord, we thank you because of these men of insight, that the Bible credits them as people who understood the times they lived in, but also knew what the community of Israel ought to have done in their times. Lord, we thank you because you have called us as scholars in our various areas to be able to make difference, to be able to participate in your mission in
we will sing one song, I stand amazed in the presence of Jesus the Nazarene. Thank you.
And my sorrows and made them his very own. He bore the burden to Calvary and suffered and died
Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for the university choir. Just a better clap Thank you very much, our university choir and Professor Ngala. I am Dr. Michael Donye. I am the MC today. I have two co-MCs who are students. Maybe they can come over because I want them to do a to take us to another topic. So, would you clap for them? Yeah, you can move to the podium. That is Chelsea Ouma and Itembete. They will be doing an introduction of the conference, and then also a brief introduction of the department on behalf of us. We are endeavoring as a department to mentor our students, and what you can see, all of them are engaged somewhere, and this is our pleasure. So our guests, you are welcome to listen to our MCs today. Welcome.
The Vice Chancellor, Professor Henry Kiplagat, Deputy Vice Chancellor, Academic and Research, Professor John Ochola, Director of Research, Dr. Moses Thiga, Dean of School of Education, Professor Frederick Ngala, our esteemed guests from Boston, USA, Robin Steele, Michael Stefano, and Louis Jones, our lecturers and my fellow students, good morning. It gives me great pleasure to welcome you all to the annual International Research Conference on Media and Communication, the year 2022. I welcome all the eminent speakers and guests for coming to share their knowledge and vast experience with us. This is the second conference in the history of the Department of Mass Communication. It is completely conducted on both the physical and the virtual platform via Zoom. The details on the Zoom link are on our university website. That is www.kabarak.ac.ke. The theme of this two-day conference is Media and Communication in a post-COVID world, the problems, opportunities, and perspectives.
Thank you. All protocols observed. Good morning. My name is Austin Itebete. I'll be your host for today. I would like to speak about the International Research Conference. Kabarak University is actively engaged in promoting and establishing research activities through the organization of an annual International Research Conference. The publication of peer-reviewed journal, conducting training activities for researchers, and through a university research grant programs that have been well put in by our able Vice Chancellor, Professor Henry Kiplagat. All this is done under the able leadership of Dr. Moses Thiga, a lecturer in the School of Computer Science and Bioinformatics. The Directorate of Research was established in the year 2017 as a separate entity from the then Institute of Postgraduate Studies and Research. Subsequently, it was renamed to Directorate of Research, Innovation and Outreach in the year 2019 in order to reflect the breadth of its mandate. Here today we are gathered for the official annual international conference for the Mass Communication Department. For the Mass Communication Department, Kabarak University Mass Communication Department aims at enhancing research in the field of media through the Media and Conference 2022. For the Mass Communication Department, we have a number of students of over 400, and the department is led by our able lecturer, the Dean, who is Dr. Michael Ndonye. Kabarak University recently signed a memorandum of understanding with the Media Council of Kenya. The Memorandum of Understanding seeks to provide a framework for collaboration between the two institutions to promote and implement mutual interest in expertise and knowledge in various capacities. And for that, we would like, on behalf of the Mass Communication Department, on behalf of the students, we would like to thank the school leadership for enabling and giving us that chance. In the Bachelor of Mass Communication, we have the general purpose of the program is to train and equip journalists, editors, reporters, news anchors, communications relations managers, research consultants, information officers, social media workers, content developers, PROs, and lecturers in post-secondary institutions with knowledge, skills, and relevant attitude necessary for productive work in their various fields. It incorporates theory, practice, and technology. And with that being said, I would like to welcome you to the first annual conference. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, kindly give them a clap. Thank you very much. Our students, you are doing well. Back to our dean, sorry. They referred me as dean. I am the head of department. Our dean is coming up, Professor Frederick Gala, to make his remarks, and then welcome the DVC, who will also welcome our Vice Chancellor. Thank you, Dean. Welcome.
I hope I'm audible. Our Vice Chancellor, Professor Henry Kiplangat. Our Deputy Vice Chancellor, Academic Affairs, Professor John Ochola. Our Deputy Vice Chancellor, Administration and Finance, Professor Ronald Chepkilot. Our Registrar, Academic Affairs, Dr. Anthony Somba. Our visitors, those visiting with us today, Director Rio, Dr. Moses Thiga. Colleagues, deans, ladies and gentlemen, let me welcome you to the first of a series of conferences that our great university has scheduled for the year 2022. Let me congratulate the Department of Mass Communication for leading the rest of the university in kickstarting the planning and execution of these conferences. Vice Chancellor, sir, a lot of work has gone into preparing this conference, with a total of 22 academic papers scheduled for presentation in this international conference. Verily, verily, I tell you, this is not a mean achievement. This work has been planned meticulously by the university management, first and foremost, and then the Directorate of Rio, the School of Education, the Department of Mass Communication, and all the academic staff, and those who are leading research. Allow me to make mention, sir, of one very important person, two people, Madam Sarah Kiptala, who is leading research in the School of Education, and also Dr. Ruth Aoko, who have worked tirelessly, of course, together with the head of department, Dr. Michael Ndonye. Vice Chancellor, sir, out of all the departments of mass communication in this Republic of Kenya, ours is probably the youngest. However, it's the most active when it comes to research and conference activities. As the dean that has taken care of this department since inception, and having been the head of a department at the time when the Commission for University Education approved these programs, I'm indeed proud of the rapid expansion of academic programs and increase in student numbers and academic staff. But I'm more proud to note that the department has come of age to organize its own research conference in this part of Africa. We are proud and even more proud because as a child, the department has come of age. We thank God for the university management, and I wish to inform the participants that we would not have taken a step ahead, one more step, without the support, the unswerving support of the university management, led by our Vice Chancellor. Kabarak University is a Christian liberal arts, science and technology institution. We believe in Jesus Christ. The Bible commissions all people to spread the gospel of Jesus Christ until he comes again for us. At this time in the history of mankind and of humanity, mass communication is the most powerful tool of research, teaching, outreach, and spurring innovation and dissemination of research findings, as well as evangelization of the world. Research in mass communication therefore enables people to use mass media for research, teaching, outreach, and for spurring innovation, and as I said, evangelization of the world. Research in mass communication is therefore critical to us in this university. May I once more congratulate the university management and the department, rather the Directorate of Rio, the School of Education, the Department of Mass Communication, for this wonderful, well-organized research conference. May the Lord God of Israel bless you abundantly. Thank you.
A good clap for our Dean. Now I want to welcome our Deputy Vice Chancellor, Academics and Research, to do his presentation.
Asante sana. Let me introduce the Deputy Vice Chancellor, Academic Affairs, Professor John Nyawara Ochola. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much, Professor Frederick BJA Ngala. We happen to come from the same county, so he knows all of my names. And by the way, thank you, Professor Ngala, for heaping on us the compliments. By us, I mean management. Thank you. Our Vice Chancellor, Professor Henry Kiplangat, the keynote speaker, the guest speakers, members of the University Management Board, members of the University Senate present, all our distinguished guests, the conference participants, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I am a very happy man this morning. Why? Because we started this conference in the year 2010, and it was launched for us and blessed by His Excellency President Daniel Toroitich Arap Moi, the second President of the Republic of Kenya, and the first Chancellor of Kabarak University. Since then, we have had very successful conferences from that first one through the thick and thin of things. Even the year 2020, 2021, and now 2022, when the world was going through the pandemic, we have been able to hold this conference, and we give glory to God. Today, our conference is being graced by our chief host, the Vice Chancellor of Kabarak University, Professor Henry Kiplangat. And I would not like to continue any further from here because he will say everything I want to say. So I would like to kindly and warmly welcome our Vice Chancellor of the University, Professor Henry Kiplangat, under whose able leadership the university is moving forward. Welcome, sir, and may we put our hands together as we welcome the Vice Chancellor. As the Vice Chancellor is coming, I see you have come with a sanitizer. COVID is still with us, so please be on standby to be sanitizing this gadget after every speaker. Thank you, William. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much. The keynote speaker, Mr. Timothy Owase, who is the Chief Executive Officer, Kenya Film Commission. The guest speakers, Madam Sylvia Mwichuli, the CEO, Public Relations Society of Kenya, representing Dr. Wilfred Marube, the President of Kenya Export Promotion and Branding. Dr. Rosemary Nyaole Kowor, I think she will be here tomorrow, was a senior lecturer, Media and Film Studies, Daystar University. Mr. John Gidinji, representing Kenya Commercial Bank, members of the University Management Board, members of the University Senate, conference participants, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I am delighted to welcome you to Kabarak University 12th Annual International Research Conference. Our International Research Conference has been distributed across all the 7 schools in the university to address the various themes identified by the departments in those schools. Today, this comes under the School of Education. We will have conferences run by the schools of Business and Economics, Law, Medicine and Health Sciences, Pharmacy, Science, Engineering and Technology, as well as School of Music and Performing Arts. Today's conference marks the first event in a series of conferences the university will hold this year. The last event will be held in October, and today's conference is being hosted by the Department of Mass Media, School of Education, as I just mentioned. And this conference will focus on the issues around the theme, media and communication in post-COVID world, problems, opportunities, and perspectives, as the students in that department ably introduced a few minutes ago. This focus is quite relevant to us in various ways as a nation. First, from early 2020, if you all remember, Kenya and the rest of the world plunged into a pandemic of a kind that we only read in books of history. Consequently, we experienced lockdowns, social distancing, travel restrictions, masking, fear, loss of lives and livelihoods. It was a very difficult time that will take time to recover from. In the midst of the pandemic, we experienced a flood of information about the pandemic from both mainstream and other alternative media. While the mainstream media largely provided actual and verified information, there was a significant amount of false information from the gutter press. Second, it is also not lost to us, ladies and gentlemen, that the only heat we are feeling is not just from the sun during this dry season. We are also beginning to feel the heat of the election season in our country. It is that time when a lot of unverified and unsubstantiated information is being disseminated from various alternative media streams, and sometimes even through the mainstream media. Competing parties are also making the nation vulnerable through misinformed and misguided utterances. Ladies and gentlemen, in this conference, we have a chance and a platform to examine the critical role that the media should play in these difficult and delicate times. We also have an opportunity to interrogate the key roles of the media in the society, namely to inform, to persuade, to transmit culture, and to entertain. Last but not least, we should consider the issue of media ethics as it relates to the acquisition, preparation, storage, presentation, dissemination of information in this conference. And this is so because the media, in both obvious and subtle ways, shapes our personalities, our views, our choices, and our behaviors. I am certain that both the media fraternity and the general public are greatly concerned about truth, objectivity, and fairness in the media, self-regulatory mechanisms among the media practitioners, privacy, and the quality of the media content. There are also expectations that the media should play its gatekeeper role in a fair and unbiased manner. Ladies and gentlemen, a trustworthy and functional media is critical for the stability of our country at this point in time. An informative and educative media is critical for the society that is grappling with serious challenges such as mental health, corruption, economic hardships, and climate change, etc. I trust that the conference participants gathered here today will interrogate this and other pertinent issues relating to the media. I would like to appreciate in a special way the staff and students from the various universities who have submitted papers for presentation in this conference. I would also like to make special mention of our visitors from Boston, Massachusetts in the US, Louis Jones and your team. Ladies and gentlemen, Louis Jones is an American photographer and filmmaker who is in Kenya for Pan-Africa Project, and he will be presenting at noon. He will donate books to our Department of Mass Communication, and he will have 2 of our former students attached to him for the 5 weeks they will be in Kenya. So to all of you who are present today, I would like to appreciate on behalf of the university your presence and your support. With those few remarks, ladies and gentlemen, I wish to declare the Kabarak University 12th Annual International Conference officially opened. Let me now introduce our keynote speaker. Our keynote speaker is Mr. Timothy Odhiambo Owase, the CEO, Kenya Film Commission. Mr. Owase is an experienced board-level leader with a wealth of experience in growing businesses and a solid understanding of designing and implementing result-bearing business initiatives and strategies. He is also a marketing and communication professional committed to sustainable socioeconomic development by investing in people, communities, and businesses. Mr. Owase is a certified film commissioner, a member of the Public Relations Society of Kenya, Association of Film Commissioners International, and the Chartered Institute of Marketing. He has a wealth of experience in marketing, media, ICT, development, and the entertainment world. He has previously provided his knowledge and expertise at Rollout Marketing Agency, Touch Media Solutions Limited, Mnet East Africa, and MultiChoice Africa. Mr. Owase has also served in different capacities at the Kenya Kalasha Film. He holds a Master of Arts in Development and Corporate Communications from Desa University, BBA Marketing from Kenya Methodist University, Film Marketing and Film Economic Development from AFCI University, Postgraduate Diploma in Marketing from the Chartered Institute of Marketing, Diploma in Marketing from London Chamber of Commerce and Industry, and a Diploma in Business Management from Kenya Institute of Management. I think we need to come up with a program in Kabarak University so that you can come and study. And then he will add that into his CV. Ladies and gentlemen, join me in welcoming Mr. Owase, our keynote speaker. Can we welcome him? Welcome, sir.
The university leadership, invited guests, students, members of the press, good morning. I'm delighted to join you this morning to be part of the 12th annual conference at Kabarak University. And I'm also delighted to be associated with the university of now and the future. I'm going to start my speech by introducing my organization and receive greetings from the board of Kenya Film Commission as well as the management team. We are so happy that we are here this morning. Kenya Film Commission is a state corporation under the Ministry of ICT with the sole responsibility of creating wealth through storytelling. Storytelling is not new to each one of us. Storytelling goes back the ancient days, and I would like each one of us to reflect on your growing up, your association with your grandparents back in the village, where you connected with the grandparents every evening after having your meals or your dinner. You would go and sit and have a listening to your grandparents channeling their stories to late nights. So when we watch a movie today, it is not something new. Storytelling started a long time ago, and that's why the commission was established by government to play the following role: to develop and promote and market Kenya's film industry both locally and internationally, to identify and facilitate growth of the film industry, to act as repository and archive Kenya's film records, promote and facilitate the development of local content, establish incubation centers across the country, also to generate, manage, and disseminate film industry research, information, and market data. The Commission also was mandated to establish and administer a film promotion fund. We coordinate and certify persons and all players within the film industry. The Commission also plays a role of liaison services. Anyone who wants to produce a film in Kenya, the Commission has a special office that offers liaison services between the producer and the government liaison offices. We also partner and develop and create linkages between Kenya's film industry and other markets through co-production engagements. Why is the film industry important? The film industry is important because of the following. One, it creates jobs that cannot be displaced. Two, it offers or attracts foreign currency into our economy, both directly and indirectly. It attracts tourism. How? Anytime a story is told through film, then be aware that that story will act as a marketing tool for generations to come. Many films have been produced in Kenya since early 80s, and to date, we have tourists who actually visit Kenya because they watched a movie. For example, if I may talk of Out of Africa, The White Maasai, among other films. All these films were produced in Kenya, and because of them, they have marketed Kenya over years. So the reason as to why we need to actually champion the art of filmmaking. What are some of the programs the Commission is currently championing? We are currently carrying out various capacity building activities because we believe skilled manpower then will promote or will give us a room to actually have a vibrant film industry in Kenya. We have a film empowerment program which is tailor-made to fund film production in the country. We are establishing film hubs in each and every county. We intend that in the next few years, we should have a film hub in each and every county in this country, 47 of them. And when we do that, we'll be enabling local young filmmakers with opportunities to access facilities that will help them to produce films. We also undertake what we call audience development. It will be foolhardy for us to produce films that cannot be consumed. So we encourage each one of us to be Kenya's supporter, especially when it comes to content that has been produced locally. Let us buy local content, avoid piracy, promote local content, and create wealth through this particular line. We also undertake what we call film certification, school outreach programs, because we would like to see storytelling nurtured from the lowest level all the way to the university and into the industry. We also undertake what we call film archiving, because we would like to have a centralized archiving repository where if you want to access Kenyan films, then you should be able to go to our website, click and access any kind of content that you like to access. Kalasha, we also offer advisory services. Now, allow me to go to the definition or a brief description of what global screen industry is all about. The screen industry comprises film, TV, online and streaming video, video games, advertising, sports, and other event broadcasting sectors, and key subsectors such as animation and visual effects. So when you hear of screen industries, it implies all aspects of TV, gaming, and when I talk about gaming, I would like you to reflect back to the village when you used to apply clay to mold stuff like an aeroplane. You are a young kid and you are trying to become the constructor of Boeing by molding an aeroplane or a big trailer using clay. Today, the same stories that you are doing at the village are actually now being enhanced and applied using technology. And that's why we are talking about software development. All those games that you are playing at the village level, we can be able to move them from that level to where we are today, move them to the scale where you can be able to apply software to generate these stories and sell them to the international world. So as we discuss today about the film industry, just remember that at the global scale, this is a sector that has been identified by many governments as a sector that will change the economies of the world. Under the COVID pandemic, this is a sector I can assure you that we can be able to change and drive economic activities in all other sectors of our economy. And I'm going to go into that shortly. I would like to touch base on the global value of film production. As of 2019, just before the onset of COVID-19, The global expenditure on film and TV production was $117 billion, with a gross value add of $414 billion and 14 million jobs. The film and TV industries have experienced exponential growth with significant rise in consumer demand and increased investment by streaming platforms like Netflix, Amazon, Disney+, among others. The exponential growth can also be attributed to proliferation of broadband and internet services being utilized by millions of consumers. In 2019 combined, consumer spend globally for theatrical and home entertainment reached $101 billion, which was 34% increase from the year 2015. Demand has risen through the pandemic, with Netflix adding 10 million new subscribers in second quarter of 2020, while Disney Plus added 54.5 million subscribers by 4th of May, less than 6 months after its launch. This has seen the film and TV industry become a serious economic driver, presenting a strategic opportunity to governments worldwide to build creative and digital industries, thus creating jobs for the future. Why is this sector important? The film and TV production has found increased recognition from governments around the world due to its considerable economic activity, return on public investment, ability to create modern, highly skilled and mobile employment. Film products have also emerged as crucial medium of enriching a nation's sense of identity and branding on the international arena. Other benefits arising from the film and TV industries are driving economic activity of a country, usually measured by GDP, producing highly skilled, productive, and less displaceable employment, increased net inward investment, capital investment in supply chain and infrastructure, positive national branding, film and TV tourism, driving economic activity in adjacent creative industries. What I'm trying to say is that when you have a vibrant screen industry, not only does it just focus on this line of the sector, but it drives all other sectors of the economy. So the more we focus our attention on the screen industries, we give ourselves room to actually grow all other sectors of our economy, be it health, agriculture, manufacturing, among others. The Association of Film Commissioners International report in 2020 reported that there was almost 100 incentive systems in operation at the national, state, and province levels, being used in established and emerging production markets according to the Global SPI Incentives Index. Why are governments focusing on setting up incentives? Because the world has become very competitive and there are so many stories to be told. Major studios in the United States and Europe, they would like to be able to produce or to tell their stories in places where the costs are as low as possible. And when you have incentives, then you give room for these mega studios to actually come to your location. And when they come to your location, then you are guaranteed that you'll be able to access experience through skills transfer, investment into the country. And on this, I would like to give an example that in early 2020, Kenya hosted a French film production in the country. This production team spent 400 million shillings in 30 days. So the challenge we have is how can we ensure that we actually bring at least 20 mega projects into the country that will spend 500 million shillings a month at any given time. That will be creating opportunities for our young people, provide room for indisplaceable job opportunities, and also skills transfer. So as I progress with this, examples of injecting impetus into the production world would require that government look at incentivizing the production area through rebates, tax credits, and tax shelters. Governments have already identified screen production as a key component of economic recovery, especially under the COVID-19, as a recovery mechanism. And many have created measures to encourage production to restart. when other areas of the economy also need urgent support, governments are deciding to invest further in the screen production sector because of its unique impact and ability to help distressed economies recover quickly from the pandemic. I would like now to touch on the impact of screen production. Film production has unique attributes that mean it is likely to be a faster option for kickstarting economic recovery than most of other sectors. For instance, a major $220 million budget film shows that an average of $10 million per week was spent during a 16-week shoot. So if we can spend $10 million per week in the value chain when you have a $220 million budget film, you can imagine if that was happening here in Nakuru, how many young people will get employment, what will be the impact of this particular production in the village where this particular production is taking place. Allow me, before I go into the Kenyan perspective, to touch on the importance, why this sector is so important, and I would like to touch on the UK as a market, to be very specific. As I get to my slide, in the year 2007 to 2013, UK experienced what we call recession. And the UK government was very deliberate on deliberately putting measures that will be able to open up the UK market to be able to have screen production as a key driver to its recovery. And by doing this, the UK government put in place specific incentives that will support medium enterprises to be able to produce content that will be able to grow the economy and open up the scaling. At the time, the UK government put this in place in 2008. I'll be very specific on this. Since 1997, UK has had consistent, predictable, and foreseeable policies to support production, primarily through tax reliefs. It's notable that during 10 years of average government's austerity policies across all UK sectors due to the global financial crisis, one area selected for continued investment was the screen production. At the time when the UK government made this decision, the spend within, or the growth within this sector was 0.7 billion pounds. But by the time we go to 2018, the UK economy had grown through the drive of this particular sector to a level of 3.134 billion pounds. That's between 2008 to 2018, from 0.7 billion pounds to 3.146 billion pounds, which is exponential. Just to give you as an example as to why we need to look at this sector more seriously. The UK government also did research to identify those people who are visiting UK as tourists. What was the motivation for them to visit this particular country? And it emerged that 36% of all those who were interviewed, they actually visited the UK because they had watched a movie. So we are being reminded that we can actually make a big difference by championing the growth of the local film sector as a key economic driver. So as I go back to the Kenyan perspective, I'll be very brief, and I want to give you a Kenyan perspective of what we are doing to see to it that we have a standing industry that will be able to give us room to grow. According to the Kenya Film Commission survey that was conducted in the year 2020, the film industry generates about 12 billion of revenue annually, but the sector is capable of producing or generating 40 billion if benchmarked with other players in Africa like Nigeria with a GDP of $410 billion, which is about 4 times the Kenyan GDP of 89. The COVID-19 pandemic raged on every economic sector. The lockdowns and live social experiences brought pain and also gains for the creative economy. Film, animation, music, and gaming benefited from increased audiences, lowered streaming costs, and application downloads. The disruption has fast-tracked solutions to the existing challenges and opportunities facing the Kenyan creative economy. The Kenya government, through the Commission, has put in place various measures, and we are implementing the following measures to see to it that we are able to move forward despite the COVID challenges. First of all, there was the 100 million stimulus package given by His Excellency the President, which the Commission participated in seeing to it that we have these funds accessible by the creative sector. In addition to this, the Commission is currently setting up film hubs across counties to open spaces where young people can be able to put in place or to do production with ease. Softwares, workstations, the green screen, cameras, audio and video studios are being set up by the Commission to enable these young people who are graduating from universities to be able to tell their stories with ease. We are also undertaking core capacity building workshops to ensure that we have experienced and talented young people access the right knowledge that will be able to provide room for storytelling. We are also acquiring content from the market in partnership with the Kenya Broadcasting Corporation so that we are able to see to it that there is movement of cash within the creative economy. And by doing this, we know we create a number of jobs and also provide room for each one of us to be entertained while providing food to the table through the creative industries. For the very first time, Kenya Film Commission, in partnership with the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics, we are setting up what we call the satellite account. And this satellite account, film satellite account, is aimed at providing you with data that is relevant as to how much are we contributing to the exchequer. In addition to that, how many jobs are we creating per annum, and how many local productions are being churned out every financial year. With this, it will be very easy to quantify our sector and also bargain for it in terms of share of revenue within the country. In addition, the Ministry of ICT, Innovation and Youth Affairs, who is our parent ministry, is currently concluding on the film policy and bill, which is aimed at streamlining the operations of the film industry in Kenya. When the bill and the policy are approved, I believe we'll have issues of film funding, co-production treaties, as well as training in the industry, among others, all streamlined so that we have a very clear way of operation as far as the screen industry is concerned in the country. So as I conclude, allow me to implore you, because each one of us here, in one way or another, has a linkage to your relatives, to your friends, among others. And my rallying call to you is that let us all champion the cause of screen culture in our country. Local content is king, and local content is only king if it is valuable. And how can it be valuable? Local content can be valuable if we are actually buying Kenya in a verge of supporting the local content creators. Let us avoid issues of piracy, because when you pirate, then you actually deny a rightful owner of specific content by you pirating, which is not acceptable. And for the universities, among others, scholars, I want to call on you to focus more research in this area. Let us do more papers, provide solutions that we can all be able to adopt in championing the welfare of this particular sector. Thank you very much for listening, and let us all support the creative industry.
Let's give a better round of applause to our keynote speaker. Thank you very much. I believe everyone has gotten some good information from that. As at now, we would like to introduce our second speaker. She is the current Chief Executive Officer of Prsk. She holds over 20 plus years experience in providing leadership in policy, communications management, and resource mobilization support for several local and international organizations. Previously worked as a parliamentary reporter at the Nation Media Group before moving into the communication management space. Her areas of expertise include communication strategy development, change management, branding, development and execution of campaigns, partnership building, stakeholder engagements, policy influencing, and public affairs management. She also has strong expertise in advocacy, lobbying, as well as people management. She has held numerous senior communication management positions that span the global, Pan-African, and national level. A few selected organizations where she has served include the AGRA, the UN Millennium Campaign, Action Aid, and AMREF Kenya. She has worked as a communications and policy advisor, supporting several government projects and institutions, including the Ministry of Labor and Social Protection.
She also has a strong training and capacity building expertise in political communication, gender, and sustainable development. Her roles previously held include the Vice President, Policy Engagement and Communication at the International Center for Evaluation and Development, Communications and Public Affairs Director at Alliance for Green Revolution in Africa, Africa Communications Coordinator, UN Millennium Campaign, Chief Corporate Communications Officer, Kenya Pipeline Company, Global Communications and Marketing Manager Agency for Cooperation in Research and Development, Communications and Fundraising Manager, AMREF Kenya, and Communications and Advocacy Management, Action Aid Kenya. Ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome the CEO of Public Relations Society of Kenya, Madam Sylvia Mudasia Muchuli.
A round of applause as she comes. Welcome, madam.
Wow. Those are wonderful MCs, right? Let's appreciate them. It's not easy. Standing up here is not easy, so we appreciate. I guess from the introduction, you've gathered that I've worked everywhere, right? Yeah, but it's really, really a pleasure to be here. All protocols observed. I've been told I have very limited time, so all protocols observed. I hope the DVCs here will just allow me to continue. It's really a pleasure, a real pleasure to be here. It's my first time to come to Kabarak. I'm so amazed at the grounds. Beautiful university. I've told the DVC that I'm bringing you guys as students next year. It is so beautiful. It is so beautiful. So, let's go on. Yeah, so how many of you here are communicators? How many of you here? Let me see the hands of communicators. Ebu, put your hand up. Ebu, you appreciate them? So, my question is, why didn't the rest of you have your hands up? We are all communicators. Yeah? We are all communicators. You cannot get away with life without communicating. So I want to start by saying, this conversation today is not for media and communication students. Actually, I want to talk to the rest of us. Primarily because the art of communication, the science of communication has become the bread and butter of everything we do. Those who communicate best are getting the best jobs, yeah? So you can be good at whatever, whether you're an engineer, you're a doctor, you're a lawyer, the best communicators are the ones who are making it, yeah? So today, as we talk about surviving to thriving, I'm not looking at this only from the student perspective, the communication and media students that are studying here. However, for the communication and media students here today, I'm going to give you some secrets that will help you as you begin your job search. What should you be thinking about as you begin your job search? So as previously introduced, my name is Sylvia Mwichuli. I'm the CEO of Prsk, which is the Public Relations Society of Kenya. First, I want to know how many of my members are here. If you're a member of Prsk, please put your hand up. Everyone, let's appreciate. Stand up, stand up. Stand up, because these are the bright ones. Please, thank you. Thank you so much for being my member. I'm hoping that by the end of this discussion, we'll have more members from Kabarak, right? So, I'm going to be talking about the whole issue of how COVID has affected the strategic communication sector, and how and I will also provide some ideas of how we get out of it. But first, I want to say that Prsk is the only professional institution mandated to take care of public communicators and private communicators. So, if you're here in this university, you're studying media and communications, you're supposed to be a member of Prsk. Because that is the place where you'll be able to connect with industry. That is the place where you'll be able to be mentored, to be able to get into your career in the right way. We do a lot of things aside from documenting best practices of our members, but also we do a lot of policy influencing. At the moment, we're working on a bill which we are hoping will come out by the end of the year. You know, these politicians, man, when you go into advocacy, you discover, working with politicians is a task. What I want to do, if we vote for them, they'll be nice to us. Those guys are not very nice. But we're working on a bill, and hopefully by the end of the year, we will be a regulator, which means, that's why I'm asking you, if you haven't joined Prsk and you're in comms, you need to think about it, because we're going to close the door. We're going to close the door as soon as we get the bill, and you will only gain admittance. Listen to me carefully. You will only gain admission into Prsk after doing our certification course. So we're going the way of the accountants. So if you are smart, you better join now. Because you will not be admitted into the society without the certification course, which is a whole year's going to school. So if you're smart, you know what to do. So I want to look at 6 ways in which COVID has changed our world tremendously. But from a communication perspective, there are 6 major things that have happened that are of significance to us. First is this whole e-commerce thing, deliveries, Glovo, who else? Who are the other people? Yeah, you guys don't order pizza? What kind of students are these? Am I in Nakuru Akuna? Let me hear. Who do you order from? Sorry? Sandy, all those, yeah? There's one there. Who? Oh, Jumia, yes. This has changed the way the world is interacting. The second thing is this working from home business. Those of us who are mothers, we know the challenge of working from home. So working from home has become a universally accepted norm. In fact, did you know that a number of banks, people are still working from home? It's become like part of the process. They no longer insist that you must work in the office. The second thing is the whole issue of telemedicine, which has become a very critical area. You don't have to see the doctor, you can get treated online. The whole idea of formal jobs, the whole issue of jobs has completely changed. In fact, I'm so happy with the theme of this conference because we really need to be thinking not about how we're going to get jobs, but how we're going to create, how we're going to become employers. Can I hear an amen or something? We're no longer going to be employed, we're going to be employers. That's where the world is going. The whole issue of online employment activities and opportunities. There are Kenyans who are making millions of shillings from online employment opportunities. There's a friend of mine who lost her job due to COVID, And I remember telling her, why don't you go to Facebook and start something? So this lady started a baby shop. A baby shop. I mean, it sounds like a very simple idea. But do you know where she lives? In Nairobi. She lives in Lavington. Her children go to St. Christopher's. And she's a single mother. She's able to pay those bills with that baby shop online. So it has opened up opportunities. And then the whole issue of health and safety. Now I want us to do a small exercise. This thing is quite restricting. Can I just get a mic? I'm a former teacher, so I'm uncomfortable standing like this. Can I get a mic? I want you guys to close your eyes, all of you. Close your eyes. You won't cheat. This is a Christian university. By the way, choir. Where's the choir? That was beautiful, eh? I've never felt like dancing to a national anthem. That was really beautiful. Please give our compliments to them. So close your eyes. I want you to imagine the future. 10 years from now. 10 years from now. What is the future going to look like for people who work in PR, communication, and media? Close your eyes and imagine the future. Because if you looked at 10 years ago and now, it is so different. So 10 years from now, what do we expect? Do you have another mic that can go around? I want some few people to yes, put up your hand. What do we expect? 10 years from now, what do you see? What do you imagine? What is it going to be like? Anybody? Yes? Is somebody there? Then you come here. Just stand up and say what you imagine. 10 years from now, what will the world look like? Yes?
Hello, my name is Hilda.
Yes?
10 years from now, we probably wouldn't be having offices for PR. Most people will be into consultancy. Yes.
Correct. 10 years from now, most of us will be consultants working on our own. So the idea of being employed again is not an option. Sir, give us your option. And this side, I want somebody from this side. Can I see a hand? Yes?
10 years from now,
yes,
I see artificial intelligence media.
Uh-huh.
Some people lose jobs.
Correct.
Yeah.
We are going to lose jobs, or if you're sitting here thinking, oh, I need to do the traditional thing of doing a newsletter. Have you heard of this thing? People say, I'm so good at doing newsletters. I'm so good at... Those are jobs that are gone. So artificial intelligence is really going to impact our world. This side, please, I want to know if you're with me or you're not with me. There's nobody here who has an idea about 10 years from now how the world will look like. Please bring the mic. There must be somebody. Bring the mic to this side of the room. If you're a student in PR and communication, you must have an opinion. That is how we are wired. You must have an opinion. Please give that young man in a nice pink shirt. He must have an opinion. The way he's dressed very nicely, yes.
Every institution in Kenya will adopt PR.
Every institution in Kenya will adopt PR. Can we appreciate that comment? Because this is what I see. 10 years from now, AI is going to dominate the world. And as he said, many jobs are going to be lost. So as young people who are thinking about the future, you need to be thinking about this. What are the jobs that are going to be lost? And how do you avoid becoming a victim? All right? Second thing, what he has said, communication is going to be at the center. Eh? At the center, and I'm glad we have some CEOs here and people who are in senior management, even in the university. Communication is going to be at the center of strategy, which means that for you young people here, if you make the right moves, get the right training, get the right mentorship, you're going to be sitting in very high-level positions 10 years from now. Hiya, hakuna amen? Here's any prophecy. Yeah? 10 years from now, you guys are going to be in senior management. Yeah? And you'll be sitting where it matters. 10 years from now, we're going to see a greater convergence between PR, customer care, and marketing. Now, remember that marketing are the people who bring in the money. They're able to show how they bring in the money. PR, we are a spending cost center. So we need to work very hard not to become obsolete. Because 10 years from now, there are organizations that are going to be calling their PR people marketing and PR, and we are going to lose our position. So we need to defend our position. 10 years from now, social media marketing skills will be mainstream. As in, it won't be something you put on your CV. It's like breathing. Why would you explain to people that you are breathing? Social media marketing skills will be what? Mainstream. So let me ask the question. How many of you here, I'm not going to ask about Facebook, you're only kawaida, baby steps. How many of you here are on LinkedIn? Ebo, stand up. I want you to stand up to see people who are serious in life. Eh? People who know where they are going. Eh? Can you see these people? 10 years from now, you'll see where they will be. And you'll be complaining. Thank you so much. Let's clap for them. Let me tell you why this is important. Where do employers go when they want to hire? Do they go to Facebook? So why in God's name are you not on LinkedIn? Explain it to me like I'm a child. Eh? Aren't you guys aspiring to get nice jobs? Ama, you guys, you're not aspiring to... You cannot be found. In 10 years from now, you have to be findable. And you cannot be found if you're not on LinkedIn. So you think about that. What the CEO was talking about, the issue of innovation and creativity. The people who are going to make it 10 years from now will have to demonstrate innovation and creativity. And that is why the creative industry is the way to go. But beyond that, even those who work in PR agencies, if I'm hiring right now, I'm looking for creativity and innovation. So that one is not even waiting for 10 years from now. So you must be able to demonstrate to your future employer creativity and innovation. And that is for you to think about, yeah? So there are a couple of challenges that we are facing as a result of COVID in the industry. The first one is limited resources. You know, when budgets go down, the first budgets to be cut are PR and marketing. So a lot of organizations have reduced their budgets. The second thing is that due to overexposure to social media, when you come out with serious projects, serious campaigns, people have been already messed up with all the rest of the nasty stuff that is out there. So you have to work twice as hard to get the attention on social media. This is one big challenge that we are facing. And then content is king. We say content is king, but you know how hard it is to have compelling content that people can read or people can view. People make videos. You watch the video for 1 second and you do what? You move, right? So what must we do to create content that people will be interested in? Now, if you can hone your skills in content, you become a good content creator. After this meeting, just see me. I'll get you a job. Primarily because, especially your generation, and let me not say, you know, I'm a mother of a 22-year-old, so I can afford to say that. The issue of writing. Eh? You write an opinion piece. How many of you in this room can do that? Honestly speaking, put up your hand. You can write an opinion piece and you just sit and you think through and you write an opinion piece. That is a rare skill. Eh? That is a rare skill and I congratulate you. Eh? Many of us cannot sit and write. That is the reality. But the truth is, and I'm telling you as a former journalist, eh? The only way you can learn how to write is by writing. It's like driving. You can only learn how to drive by driving. The more you write, the better you become. The more you write, the more succinct you become. So Those are the skills that people are looking for. The issue of audience mapping. The way we do communication these days, we don't do general communication. You have to ask yourself, where is your audience? I'm always amused by some of the people we work for as a consultant. They tell you, I want to put supplement kwa gazette. You know that thing called supplement? Oh my God, I hate that thing. And I know Kabarak, you just have to put, because other universities are putting, right? What is the real value of a supplement? Honest to God, is there anyone in this room who has read a supplement in the last 1 month? Put up your hand. You sat down and you said, watch an Chukwe Nation, I sit down and read the supplement. Put up your hand if you read a supplement cover to cover in the last 1 month. DVC, I want you to look behind. Because you're the guys who make decisions to spend millions of shillings on a supplement. If the comms person comes and asks for money for social media, you say, hakuna pesa. Not a single person has put up their hand. So the whole issue of audience mapping is very critical because you can lose money. And we lose money. I'm even a culprit myself, talking to the wrong audiences. So how do we survive and thrive in this post-COVID era? That's the question I was asked. The first thing is we must keep pace with the rapidly changing media landscape. The media landscape 10 years ago and the media landscape in Kenya this year is very different. I want to show you some data because data is king. You cannot argue with data. Yeah? We have so many new platforms. 10 years ago, when I used to be in the newsroom, which was before some of you were born, we were only 2 ladies on the news desk. I was the first lady to report parliament, and it was a big deal. Yeah? And on top of that, we only had Nation, Kenya Times, and Standard. At that time, for television, there was only KTN and KBC. Can you imagine a world like that? I'm sure you can't even imagine that there was a time, if you're looking for news, those were your options. There was Kenya Times, there was Nation, and there was Standard. And for TV, there was KBC and KTN, full stop, no comma, no dash. And today, we are rolling in it. You just changed channels. You guys, you don't know how lucky you are. Because of those days, we used to wait for TV. It used to start at 5 p.m. There used to be another thing that makes noise for 1 hour. I don't know why KBC used to do that. They make tea for 1 hour. And then there's that song that used to come. Then you know TV has started. Yeah? Times have changed. We have loads and loads of options. Loads and loads of options. So, as you plan your media and communication strategies, you need to be aware. One thing that you need to understand is online platforms are taking over. Yeah? In fact, they have taken over. How many of you watch TV? Like, you sit and watch TV. Put up your hand. Me, I'm one of those. I have to watch news on TV. How many of you watch news on TV? You see, generally speaking, all of you get your news where? On phone. So these are the things that we have to think about. Yeah? We have moved from mass media. So even that word mass media in your course, you need to think about it. We've moved from mass media to my media. People choose where they consume their news. They choose how they get their news. So this is something you need to think about. One very critical thing I want to mention is data is key. And as you're making your decisions on which media to use, particularly for advertising Kabarak University, advertising your little shop, those of you who have got some business, you need to understand where people are listening. If we look at newspaper, honestly speaking, I don't even know if there's going to be newspapers in 10 years. Or maybe they'll have gone completely online. Because at the moment, these are data for consumption for 2021 for Kenya. Newspaper consumption is now at 5%. As in this room, if we were to take a survey, I don't know how many people here would be reading newspapers. So you need to look at the data as you make your decisions. It needs to be data-driven so that you know where you should be putting your resources. As you can see, there's a huge growth on online. The second area that I want to talk about is branding and reputation management. This has become a big deal. And a brand is not just a logo. A brand is what you feel about the organization when you see their logo, when you see them. What do you feel about the organization? How do you interact with the organization? So it is beyond the logo. But I want to say, I picked your logo, and I asked myself, how does this logo compare to other universities? Have you ever had that discussion? How does it compare with other local universities? And how does it compare with other international universities? But beyond that, beyond the logo, when I see the logo of Kabarak University, what comes to mind? Top of mind. Can I have a mic? Go round. What is top of mind when someone sees Kabarak? What is Kabarak most remembered for? Can somebody answer the question? There's an answer there.
Kabarak University offers education in a biblical perspective.
Okay, education in a biblical perspective. If I was a student, my last born is 12 years old, that one who came late. If I told her that I wanted her to choose Kabarak University, and the main selling point is Kabarak University offers education from a biblical perspective, would she buy it? Would she buy it? Food for thought for you. What is the unique selling point of the university? This is a very important question that relates to your brand, because we are getting very competitive. You can imagine University of Nairobi has closed 30 courses. I think it was a month ago. As in, they had no students for 30 courses. Should we be worried? Should we be worried? That is a very telling case. Kenyatta University has also closed courses, as in no students are walking through the door. So the brand is very important, and Kabarak has to stay competitive against all the other universities. So I'm not going to go deep into that issue, but it is food for thought for you, whether you're staying competitive or not. So in building the brand, there are 5 things that are very critical. 1 is you want to build brand loyalty. 2, you want to create awareness about the brand. People need to know, when you say Kabarak, they don't ask you which university is that. They need to know that Kabarak is located in Nakuru, they know what you do, they know about you. There's the issue of brand policy, which you also need to deal with, how the brand is associated. And you guys like, now Kabarak University has a close association with which family? The Moi family. So there are universities that have associations with certain families. How do you leverage that to make your university more known? And then there's the whole issue of proprietary association. I'm not going to go into details because of time, but if I'm invited back to talk to the communication students, we can then look deeply into these issues. One thing that is very, very important, and especially for you as students, is building personal brands. Building personal brands. You know that guy on the right? Yeah? He's one of the strongest brands globally. Most people know him. Most people don't even know their presidents, but they know him. Yeah? Because he has built a very strong personal brand. Now, as students, I need to tell you this. As employers, when we want to hire, the first place we look at is your socials. So if you're the kind of person who goes out on Friday, gets drunk, and posts yourself on I know this is a Christian university, but I hope there's no one here who does such things. Or young ladies, you decide you don't want to wear clothes, and then you take a photo of yourself and you post. Remember, the internet never forgets. Whatever you post on the internet, I can find, even if you delete. Okay? So, building a strong personal brand is very critical. There are people who have built brands, even as young people, they have very strong personal brands, and they are getting a lot of money out of it. The other thing is remaining on top of your game. You must be on top of your game on social media. As a young person today, you must know what it means when I say SEO. Do you know what that is? I didn't hear yes from everybody. Food for thought for you. Go and find out. What is SEO? You must understand the basics of social media. This is not something you do because your mother has asked you to post pictures on Facebook. You need to understand the ins and the outs of how Facebook works, how Twitter works, how LinkedIn works. You must have those accounts. All those accounts have different functions. What does Twitter do? Who are the main users of Twitter? Twitter is largely used by policymakers. So our CEO here, if you want to follow him, you'll follow him on Twitter. And you see on Twitter, you can talk to him directly. Ask him about that 400 million he was saying, can you give us some money? He talked about 400 million, yeah? That was raised in how many days? In 30 days. So I know he has some money in his pocket to give us. So make sure you have your Facebook account for your social activities. But even when you're doing your social activities, please post responsibly. Post responsibly. I had a young girl yesterday who called me and asked me how she's going for an interview, and she had posted some bad things on Facebook. Can she delete? I told her, you know what? If your employer wants to know, they will get that data. Yeah? Make sure you have a Twitter account to speak to policymakers, look intelligent, make comments about policy issues. When people are discussing how much it is costing in Kenya to buy gas, to buy oil, also make a comment there. So when I'm looking for you as an employer, I know you are actually attuned to what conversations are going on in the country. Highly visual content is becoming more and more important. We are very visual people. And I want to share with you a statistic that I want you never to forget. Today on the internet, 82% of content that Kenyans consume is coming from videos. And that is how we are. That's how lazy we are. We don't read stuff. So if you're wasting time doing a long, what are those things called? Blog. You're writing about what. Believe you me, only 18% of Kenyans are likely to see that thing. And they might not even read all of it. So if you want to have compelling content, what must you be preparing? Videos, okay? Something very important for you to remember. Content is driving engagement. Do you know this girl? The one in my, what color is that hair? Maroon. Blonde. You know that girl? You know what she did to get famous? Who knows? What did she do? I can see the young lady now in maroon. That is maroon here. What did she do? She just widened her waist kidogo kidogo, and the next thing, she became a sensation. Now let me ask you guys, in this room, that girl has never been to college. She has never been to college. She's my son's friend. I know her. She's in college now. Okay, by the time she was dancing, she had not been to college, right? She had not been to college. But this girl is making more money than the professors on this table. I promise you. If we are to call her here today, what is her rate card? Who knows? Take an interest in these things. How much should you pay her to come here just to say hi? 250,000. That is to walk through the door. So, this thing called being an influencer, guys, this thing called being an influencer is really paying money. When we are doing campaigns, we are always looking for data for influencers in different sectors. We have influencers in the education sector, we have influencers in the health sector, we have different, so you don't have to whine your ways to be an influencer. You can be an influencer who is making a difference in a certain area. Take interest in these things, and it doesn't cost you money, it costs you time. It costs you time and commitment and consistency. What is very critical there is consistency in what you are doing. So it is something I'd like to urge you to think about seriously. One thing that is very important to note that social content has become, it is targeted to certain platforms. So you have content that you're developing for the phone, you have content that you're developing for the website, etc. When you go home today, I want you to check out this website. They're called Humans of New York. Anybody heard of them? Our CEO was talking about storytelling, you guys. I think there's a lady, young lady there. You've heard of them? Great, let's clap for her. Because the only way you learn best practice is by looking at what others are doing. Humans of New York share stories. They tell stories about people who are going through a hard time in the US. And in one campaign only, they were able to raise $1,238,210 for one family. The family was having a rough time. They had been thrown out of their house. They were living on the streets. Humans of New York told that story, and you need to see how they tell their stories. Is there a shortage of stories to tell? If you're looking for a family that is going through a hard time, you start with mine. I mean, we have loads and loads of stories. Amani Wongo. Is there a problem of stories? At Upper Inja too, you can tell a story about somebody. You can tell a story about the university. You can tell a story about how this university is changing lives. You can tell stories of people who've left Kabarak and are doing exploits out there. Hawako? Amawako? So, storytelling, as you were saying, there are so many opportunities. And this particular group, what impressed me, really, is the money they were able to raise for this family. $1 million. Can you imagine 1 million? Hiyo ni pesa ngapi kwa Kenyan shillings? Especially with our Kenyan shilling, the way it's doing badly right now. It's a lot of money. So I want to conclude by saying, social media is very critical, but a lot of us do not use it strategically. Yeah? So we need to be able to define very clear goals of what we want to achieve. We need to be able to ensure we are targeting specific audiences. We don't communicate generally anymore. We communicate to an audience. So if it is Kabarak, I was looking at your website, and I was looking at your socials, and I was asking myself some questions. Who is the target audience? Yeah? Who are you communicating to? Yeah? So these are critical questions that you need to ask yourself. The issue of a data-driven approach, once you understand your audience, you can be able to pick a data-driven approach. You can be able to identify the best channel to communicate to. So we've agreed here that Daily Nation, standard newspaper, is not communicating to our young people. Yeah? So when you're doing your campaigns, you need to determine which is the best approach to reach our young people. Lastly, we need to ensure our team that is doing communication, and this is very common, especially in universities, where they set up, and I don't know about Kabarak, I'm not talking about Kabarak, but I've been to several universities this year. They set up a communication department, but the people don't have the tools to do the work. So I don't know if I'm making a plug, but I want to say, without tools, without the right softwares, without investing in what you need to invest in, people can't do anything. So I'm speaking to the front table here. Let's make sure that we have the right tools, techniques, and technologies to be able to make the university shine, especially in the social media space. where we are all going. It's important as you prepare your social media plans that you just keep it simple. People have only 1 or 2 seconds to see what you have posted. So if you post content that is, we have professors, so they have to demonstrate that they went to a good school where they learned big words. They have to confuse us, right? But the truth is that in social media, you have to keep it simple so that the rest of us can understand what you're saying. So in conclusion, what am I saying? The first thing is you need a strategic communications approach. So you need a communication strategy that defines where you want to go and how you want to position the institution. I've been challenging a number of universities that when was the last time you did a brand audit? You looked at your brand and you actually said, talk to people and say, how do you see our brand? When I worked at AMREF is a very famous, is there anybody here who doesn't know who AMREF is? I was the head of comms at AMREF. And somebody came and said, why don't you do a brand audit? And everybody was like, situna julikana, AMREF is very famous. We don't need to do a brand audit. Everybody in Kenya knows what we do. So I decided to take the challenge and do the brand audit. And this is what I found. It was very shocking. If AMREF was a human being, that was the question people were asked, what kind of human being would they be? Do you know what came out? A 70-year-old Muzungu who lives in Karen and drives a Rolls Royce. I mean, can you imagine an organization that works in Kibera with ordinary people? AMREF has programs in Turkana in places you cannot even go. They have programs that are changing lives in the country. And wananchi wanasema, wakisikia AMREF, they think of an old Muzungu, 70-year-old, who lives in Muthaiga or Karen. And the only thing they knew about AMREF was flying doctors. They didn't know AMREF does anything else.
Yes.
And flying doctors was like 1% of the work we did. So we had to come up with a campaign. The campaign I came up with was called Stop Flying Toilets. And that campaign changed the brand. Okay? So, Kabarak University, are you bold enough to take a look at your brand and find out what do Kenyans really think about Kabarak University? You might be pleasantly surprised or negatively surprised. But all the same, it tells you where your brand stands. You also need to establish a very strong digital media strategy. And digital media is not just your website and your socials. You need to look beyond that. Internal communications is key. In building for the future, internal communications becomes extremely critical. Today, if I pick anybody in the grounds, I just go and talk to the guys who are making up those beautiful grounds. And I ask them about the vision of Kabarak University and where Kabarak University wants to go in the next 10 years. Will they tell me? Do they know? Yeah? Story again about AMREF. Years ago, we were fundraising for HIV and AIDS, and we had a partner coming from the UK to come and give us the final word on our project. This partner is the partner of Elton John. I know you guys, you know Elton John is gay, right? So Elton John's partner was coming. We had already passed every loop. And it was £3 million, which I was raising. And this guy came and he said, he was going to the field. And he said, I don't want to go with you. I want to go with just a driver. So we organized. I mean, I was in panic mode because £3 million is a lot of money, right? And this guy is going to the field with nobody from AMREF. He wants to just go and meet the communities by themselves. So he went and came back. When he came back, he was staying at Norfolk. He told me, don't even come to the hot inside, I'm coming to the parking. So of course I panicked. Can you imagine a donor telling you, we won't sit down and discuss? I'm coming to the parking. So he came to the parking and I was really praying. I said, God, please, we need this money for the widows and orphans. And the guy comes to me and says, I'm giving you the money. And I said, He said, I don't even need to waste time. You just know they're giving you the money. So I asked him, so what did you like? He said, the communities you sent us to are so typical. You know how Mzungu comes to Kenya, you have to give them some Maasais to see. So I sent him to a Maasai community, and I made sure they have to dance for him. And this Mzungu said, that is so typical of you Kenyans. You think that when we come to see projects, you have to divert us with some beautiful Maasai women. Anyway, he saw through the trick. He enjoyed visiting the community, but it was nothing special. He said, there's nothing special about what I saw. What I loved is the driver. Out of God's own choice, he had
nobody but Jesus. So some of which ones have a very similar as they have. Oh, Sema, nikai nikaona. There in the storm. Wale nini kwa Sasa ukirupa
over again. Let your students, your alumni, talk about you where they are. Do Kabarak students tell people, you guys, you don't know, this was the university. You know, University of Nairobi students are very good at that. And that is even not the best university. I went there, so I know. It's one of the most difficult places to ever study. Lecturers never come. Anyway, that's another story for another day. But how are your students going out as brand ambassadors? You guys in the room, do you talk about your university on your socials? You tell people that you're honored and blessed to be here as students. So we need to build a brand advocacy initiative internally where our students and our staff are our first brand ambassadors. When they go out there, they talk about us. And then events, I'm so happy to see this event, staging world-class events. Many universities stage, let me just say, for lack of a better word, for Godari events. I go to many events at universities, and you sit there and you wonder, these guys, did they even expect us? But you see, when I came here today, I felt good, because the first place I was told is, you are welcome, come to the VC's office. And I was like, yes, this is a university that treats its visitors well. I have a small video. Is there sound? If there isn't, I won't show it. It's a video about, you can look it up. If there are iPhone users here, are they here? What were iPhone? Wala unajipendanga. It's about the latest iPhone. What is the latest iPhone? Look this video up. Look this video up, and you will realize the iPhone guys have really understood understood how to position their product, okay? The sound is not there. Look it up. Please don't forget when you go home, look this video up. And then you will realize that those of us who are Android users, how many Android users are there here? We are really missing out. We are really missing out on a great product. So the reason I wanted to show this video is to tell you that when we position Kabarak, it must be so sweet that anybody who's in any other university, they start suffering from FOMO. What is FOMO? Fear of missing out. So I want to leave that word with you, that you must position your university as the place to be. It is not the responsibility of the VC and the DVC and the dean and all that. It is all our responsibility. So thank you for listening to me.
Thank you so much, Ms. Sylvia Mushuli, for that powerful presentation. Let's give her one round of applause again. At this juncture, I would like to invite some brief remarks by Mr. John Githinji, the representative from KCB. After this, then we'll have a question and answer session led by Dr. Michael Ndonya, OMC. Thank you. Please welcome Mr. John Githinji.
Our Deputy Vice Chancellor Academic, Research Professor John Ochola, Deputy Vice Chancellor Finance, Professor Chepchikirot, Keynote Speakers, Management, all distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I will take the shortest time possible because I'm sitting in between lunch and it's humane. So I'll be very specific. KCB is one of the key partners of Kabarak University. We are very humbled by the university management for choosing KCB as one of the key bankers. As you know, KCB is the largest in East and Central Africa. Even saw a profit the other day, and we are even moving to DRC very soon. We partner with Kabarak in so many ways. We came late, but we sponsored this event. And I was talking to my brother, Dr. Vega. I was telling him, very soon we'll come in a heavy way and support this event. We really like looking at the talents. Media is the key to the human or the normal mwananchi to know the truth, and this is the way to go. So for KCB, we have a lot of things, and as Madam have said it, we have gone digital. KCB is one of the key bankers whereby if you open an account with us, you don't have necessarily to visit our bank. We have an internet banking. You have seen it in the social media. We have a very strong social media platform whereby you work at the comfort of your phone. We have mobile banking. We also have a card called Prepare, a Prepare card. Online, those who do online purchase, e-commerce, there is a lot of risk when you use a debit card. A debit card, in another layman language, we call it ATM card. A debit card can access funds in your account. And when you share there is a certain thing chip at the back. When you share that, fraudsters can access your funds in the account and they can clean all your accounts, and at the end of the day, you lose all the funds. For those employed, there is another thing called credit card. Credit card is where the bank give you access or overdraft on the money that doesn't belong to you, then you repay monthly. If you use it for online, you can also risk fraudsters coming and even using the bank fund, and you can default yourself even in CRB. So we are giving you a prepaid card called Prepare, and like as we speak, we have waived all the charges. It's free when you visit any bank in the KCB. And what you do, you load money in that card. So even if a fraudster accesses that card, what he can already touch is the money you have loaded. You can load what you are using. Are you together? You can use that card also to fuel your car in any petrol station. You can swipe when you go in a supermarket. When you go anywhere, you can swipe that card. That is for students. For the university, lecturers and staff, we have signed a memorandum of understanding with the university management, and KCB is one of the competitive banks in giving financial assistance to all staff. We are the best and most competitive, and we'll be having our tent outside, and we'll offer you the best service. So with those few remarks, because of time, I will welcome my brother Patrick. Fine? Yes. Thank you, Professor. Okay, because of time, that's why I was not able to say. So let me first say this. The brand of Kabarak is very strong, I can confirm to you. I'm an alumni of Kabarak University. Currently, I'm a sales manager in charge of 5 counties, Nakuru, Nyandarua, Samburu. We also have Laikipia and Baringo. I'm in charge of all those branches. And what I can tell you, even in the business school, we are taking interns from Kabarak University. You understand what it means? What it means when you entrust people from a university in a financial institution, you understand? We are the custodian of your money. So when it comes to the discipline, the honesty, I can confirm to you, even when we go for interviews, I think Kabarak and Strathmore, they are the best brand. So you can feel proud of yourself. So with those few remarks, I also invite those who have not taken their master's or PhD. Kabarak is the best place to be. You see the arena, you see the serene. It's a good pre-university. So thank you very much. And we'll welcome my brother. Just take a short minute. He's our relationship manager. We are opening a new Platinum Center at Flamingo. It's opposite Flamingo branch. It's at the middle of America, just as you come this way. At the top, we're opening a Platinum bank there. That is for Price Bank, and he's the one who will be in charge of it. So I told him, come, so that you can meet our lecturer. Thank you very much. God bless you.
Thank you, John. Good afternoon. My name is Patrick Awambua. Timothy and Vincent, you can wave. We have two of our colleagues here. Just like John said, I run premium banking, and KCB as a bank, through our corporate social responsibility, we have an arm or a project that we're running. We call it Tujiajiri, and it is very relevant to what we're doing or what we're talking about today, creativity in media and all that related business. We came up with that project because we realized that most of our graduates, they are graduates from the universities doing in the creative industry. When they come out, they wonder whether there is life after this. And so the bank tailor-made a project that will ensure a transition into the market sector, So what you do once you're done with your study, come to us, we will partner with you. You realize that for you to put up a media house, you require several professionals. So all those professionals can come up. There are those ones who do photography. I don't know their names, but there are several. Cindy, there are those who are in the front and others at the back. All those professionals can come up as a group, and we train them. We transit them from the world of theory into world of practicality and entrepreneurship. You know, you have all this media knowledge, isn't it? Then now you go out and you need to convert all that knowledge into business because you have to survive. So that is where now the bank comes in to bridge the gap. So don't worry what the world holds for you. When you come out, a partner, come up together, let us see what we can do. We train you for a period of a year in entrepreneurship skills, and then we finance you. We can either finance you you alone or as a group of professionals. And then another support that we do for our students who are in media is to, you realize that most of the instrument, what do you call them, the instruments are very expensive. So we ensure that we partner with companies that provide this. And then when you come to us, the instruments are ready. We just ensure that you purchase at a low price without having to ask for collateral. So now you see this fear of I do not have money is already gone. So that is what we do for you. We ensure that we partner with companies. As a bank, we partner with the company that is providing this. Then you come as an entrepreneur or as a group of entrepreneurs in this sector, and we ensure that we finance you for this. So we make life a bit easier. Most of these instruments are very expensive. Number two, we can also facilitate the importation. You know, most of the companies that issue this from abroad, they require guarantees and all that. So the bank ensures that we give them the confidence that kindly provide for our young entrepreneurs who have just graduated from the university, they require this. So thanks very much. You realize that as a bank, we are still in the vision of what the university is focusing on this year. So you don't need to worry as a young entrepreneur from the university. You find that there are financiers like KCB that are ready to partner with you. Thanks a lot. God bless you.
Let us appreciate the KCB representatives.
I would like to mention that KCB Group Nakuru is the official sponsor for this conference. Please appreciate them.
So right about now, I want to open the question and answer session. It will be led by our very own Dr. Michael Ndonye. In regards, kindly remember to follow the conversation on our social media platforms. YouTube at Kabarak University official channel, Facebook at Kabarak University, Instagram at Kabarak_research and conference, Twitter at Kabarak University Research, Innovation and Research. Your feedback will be highly appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you. Kindly, can you give these colleagues a loud of applause? Yeah, thank you very much. They are doing a good job. We are just going to have 4 to 5 minutes of question and answer. And then I welcome Dr. Dhiga for a vote of thanks. Sorry? Sure. Oh, you have a question? Okay, thank you. Already he has a question. Although I wanted us to stand at the seat. We've been seated for a long time. Kindly, we can stand. Yeah, just stretch. It's good to do that. Stretch. Some were sleeping. Hello? Are you there? Can you spell the word coconut? Do you know how it is done?
The other side, C, O, then?
Okay, you can be seated. Okay, welcome, Dr. Dhiga.
Thank you. My question is to our keynote speaker, Dr. Timothy Owase. You made a very good presentation, and I'm picking the cue from where KCB left. They mentioned very expensive equipment. Very expensive equipment. What's the government doing to offer incentives by way of tax, at least to lower the cost of equipment, which in my view is one of the biggest hindrances for the young people to venture into this industry? Thank you.
Thank you. I hope he has noted that. Second question.
My question goes to Ms. Sylvia. Thank you so much for the presentation. I have two questions. My first question would be, in digital has opened a Pandora's box of data, and so there's a lot of misinformation and disinformation. So how then do PR specialists and consultants keep in line the authenticity that comes with sharing communication to the public? So how then do we bridge in the gap between authenticity, communication, and data for everyone? My second question is very specific towards strategic communication in government. We noticed that there are a lot of communications, but how then do we find, how do we find communication that is relatable to the youth when it comes to communicating information when it comes to government? So this is in the information mostly to do with COVID. We noticed that there's a lot of data, but the data isn't tailored towards youth. So I just wanted to know your opinions toward, has there been strategic communication when it comes to COVID-19 vaccines, COVID-19 communication in relation to the youth? And is that affecting, for instance, immunization uptake when it comes to, and the hesitancy of vaccines when it comes to the youth? Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Sylvia. I hope you've written all that composition. We need an answer. The last one, so that now, just the last one, and then we break. Okay. Okay, thank you.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
So my question is to Ms. Sylvia. I wanted to ask, does the Prsk have a chapter in Nakuru? And if yes, how do we benefit in Kabarak? As how do we let me confirm. How do we gosh.
How are we going to benefit? Are we going to be part of it?
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you.
In Kabarak University.
Thank you. Understood. I think the last one, because we want to move on, we have 3 minutes. We can have Madam Dorcas, who is our lecturer in PR. I can prophesy, maybe you are going to ask a question to Madam Sylvia. We are overloading Madam Sylvia, so we can have one more for the CEO. Just come, because after that, then we break. Yeah, just come forward after Dorcas so that you ask your questions. Just a minute or so. Go on.
Thank you, Dr. My question goes to Dr. Timothy first.
Yeah?
The CEO.
So I was wrong.
Yes.
Okay, go on.
We have Hollywood, Nollywood. Do we have one in Kenya? Maybe a Kenya wood? And then a compliment to Ms. Sylvia. Thank you for your presentation. I really appreciated as a lecturer in PR. I felt good that someone was talking to me. And maybe just a quick one. How do we have a boundary between lying and protecting the image of the organization, especially the Kenyan government, in terms of misinformation?
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Noted. The last one?
I'm here, sir.
Where?
Here. Hapa karibu na Madam Dorcas. Okay, my name is Kabarak Kinoti, and my question goes to Dr. Timothy, Kenya Film Commission. My question is this: we as journalism students, we actually do, we have films. We have done films as practicals or projects. How are we going to benefit from the Kenya Film Commission? And my next question goes to KCB Foundation. And my question is, do you have a communication department and our students, I mean the diploma student and media students, diploma students who are pursuing media and PR, and also degree students pursuing media and PR. We are going for our attachments and internship. Are you guys going to give us slots as communications officers and public relations officers? Thank you.
Thank you. The last one, and then after that, I think we will not have more questions. We are going to be here after this, and your questions will be answered. So don't worry that we are going to conclude now, because later we are coming here. You'll have all the time for the questions. The last one.
Okay, my name is Grace. I have a question for Mrs. Sylvia. You mentioned something about influencing and how the youth now focus on videos. So does that mean that the writers should stop writing? And the second thing, if they shouldn't stop writing, they should continue with their writing, is there a way to circumnavigate around that? Thank you.
Thank you very much. So let me welcome. Yeah, if you are clapping, clap well. Yeah, thank you. So can I start with Madam Sylvia? 1 minute to answer all those questions. Those are the exams we set for our students. or you come here, just kindly, you can.
Yeah, even before I go to the questions, I want to just remind everybody that I'd love for you guys to join Prsk. And here's why. Number one, we give you access to industry. Number two, those of you who are looking for internships, we have our members who have tasked us to find them interns. So you could easily get your internship through Prsk. So please join the society. But I want to just quickly, the question around disinformation and misinformation, this is a very big dilemma. I don't actually have an answer. But what we are trying to do with Prsk is we are launching a campaign in partnership with one of our donors to try and bring this issue out. And I'd really like, if you have an interest to be part of it, just see me after the meeting. The issue of strategic comms in government. Oh, wow, this is a very big question. Next time you have a conference, I think it's an issue you need to discuss. Primarily because I actually was a consultant for USAID on developing messaging for COVID-19 on government. And there was a lot of pushback, even when we said, can we use Sheng, for example? Because if you want to reach the youth, you have to use the language they understand. But we did try to do, a lot of the adverts you saw on TV were done by us. But the challenge you have is, serikali, there's a way they do their thing. So sometimes when you suggest something so outside the box, they find it hard. But let me challenge you. You see, a lot of donors are around with money to do COVID communication. How about you guys put together a proposal, yeah? And let's see if we can get it funded. So that instead of always saying, let the other people do it, how about you do it? What will stop you from coming with a very youth-centric, youth-focused, it will have the right language, it will have the right images and everything, a campaign by Kabarak University students on COVID. That is a fundable idea. So I want to challenge you guys to see if you can do something. The issue of Nakuru, we're just in the process of changing our constitution, and one of the things we are forming are the chapters. So this constitution is going to be passed in the next AGM, which is in May. As soon as the constitution is passed, we will have a chapter in Nakuru. And why is a chapter important? Is because you can then deal with your local issues. We can be able to congregate together and come up with a common cause and a common agenda. So expect that. The issue about the image of government and lying, hey, that's a very big question. We always say that PR is about telling the truth. I'm a firm believer that when you lie, it catches up with you. And believe you, I've been in this profession for 20 years. I have lots of experiences where we went out and said, okay, we messed up, here's the reality. And what I found about, even about Kenyans, they're very forgiving when you apologize and come out with the truth. But when you come out with a lie and they catch you, you're dead. So my approach is always tell the truth, face up to it, apologize, and move on. That has been my approach, and I've worked in government, several government institutions as well. Finally, there's the question about writing. Where is the young lady? Can she stand up? The young lady who asked the question about writing. Let me tell you something. Can we clap for her? I want to tell you today, this is a common discussion in PRSK events. We cannot find people who can write. Remember, everything we do as PR consultants is about writing. You write a proposal, you write a pitch, you're always writing a story, telling somebody's story. That's what we do. So there will never be a replacement for people who are good writers. Good writers are few and far between in this congregation here. Maybe if we did an exam, we'd only get 3. So if you can write, and you can write well, my dear young daughter, you will get a job tomorrow. It's no big deal to get a job for someone who can write. It is easier to do videos and all those other things, TikToks and whatever. But those who can write, and that's why I encourage you, if you want to be big in this business, hone your writing skills. And that's why I said writing is like driving a car. You do it until you get it right. You do it until you get it perfect. The road to perfection is not easy, so keep writing. So I want to appreciate her. And I'm going to buy you lunch today because you asked that question.
Thank you very much. Clap for Madam Sylvia. Yeah, thank you very much. And I want to assure Madam Sylvia that here there are students who are writing and they are doing well. I have a group of about 20 I'm mentoring in writing, and one of them actually just won an award last week. Actually, an African award. Yes. Clap for that student. Yeah. And like the father, like the son, I am a writer.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Welcome.
Thank you very much. I'll start with the very last question from a journalism student who wanted to know how to access Kenya Film Commission facilities. To start with, we have a whole community of screen or storytellers. Join us by signing up on our database, Kenya Film Commission website, Kenya Film Commission Facebook, Kenya Filmcom on Twitter, LinkedIn, as well as Instagram. We churn out a lot of information. You will get help. The other question was on whether Kenya's film industry is branded. The answer is no, because we have several woods in the country. We have a wood in Mount Kenya, we have a wood in Nyanza, we have a wood here in Nakuru. So that is a task that we are working on. And through a proper legislative framework, we'll have a branded industry. Because without a brand, then you do not have anything to market. As communicators who will confirm or marketers, a brand is a promise. So we are working on giving our audiences an industry brand. That is the film industry in Kenya. The other question was about filming equipment being expensive and what the commission or government is doing to address that issue. Indeed, we realized that it's not easy to access filming equipment, and that's why the commission came up with the Film Hub project. When you go to Bomet today, you will find that the Film Hub in Bomet has all the equipment that you need to tell your story. You go to Nyeri, you find the same, and we are doing another one in Uasin Gishu. Our intention is to have 47 film hubs, but that's not the permanent solution. A permanent solution will be the specific incentives that will be provided by government to enable you as a content creator to access equipment with the zero-rated custom charges. Of course, when we have that, then it will be easy for you to purchase your own equipment, set up your studios, and also attract more investors in the industry so that we have as many producers as possible in the industry. Other than that, we have a one-stop shop. So this is my rallying call to each one of us. Anyone who is in the creative industry, please sign up to our database, because when we have your details on our database, then we churn out information that is relevant to you, and you can also interact with us at any given time. So let's keep talking. A brand is a promise. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Kindly a good clap for our guest speaker. Thank you very much. And I think now, sorry, sir.
Sorry for that. Maybe if I don't answer, it will be like I'm avoiding, okay? So there is a question from one of our students from media, that are we going to take intern from the media, mass and communication? Okay, this is the way we started it at Kabarak. Our core business is in business school, and currently what we normally do, it's very competitive. So we come at the university with the HR and some of us at the regional level. We do interviews, like any other interview for a job. Then we look for more competitive. It's a competitive, it's not a direct thing. Currently, we are doing it with the HOD, Mr. Maritim, for business school. But what I will do, since our marketing is centralized in the head office, I'll just involve the stakeholder, the HOD, in the mass communication. Then we can see the slot we can get for the mass communication school. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That is an MOU. I think we are going to follow up on it and make sure we have an MOU with you for that purpose. It is going to be for the benefit of our students. In this conference, 16 students are presenting papers. You are not clapping. Yeah. That is how serious the department is, and we are trying to mentor our students into writing. Madam Sylvia, I want to introduce to you that lady who is called Dorcas Kebenei. I think after this, we need to see how we are going to partner with the organization in the department for the sake of our students, for attachments, for accreditation, and for other things. I've already spoken to Owase, and we are going to see to it that something is going to happen after this. So I want to assure our management representatives who are here that out of this meeting, we are going to have about four MOUs. The last one is on the issue of when you talk about photography, we already announced to you that we have a team from USA. In the afternoon, we are going to have a breakout session for them, and they will explain to you even the questions you have about costs and the complicated equipments they have, led by Mr. Lou Jones from Boston, USA. So thank you. I want to welcome now Dr. Moses Dega, who is going to move a vote of thanks. And then from there, we are going to see the way forward. Karibu sana, Director.
So good afternoon. My job is to summarize the good things we've had this morning. I believe you've enjoyed yourselves, have you? Thank you. So I begin by asking us in our hearts and minds to give thanks to God for allowing us to see this year. You know, since COVID, and of course before, but COVID made it even more profound, we don't take it for granted. You know, before we knew there are road accidents, there are natural causes, but now there's something in the air you don't see that can deal with you very, very fatally. So we give thanks to God for enabling us to see this 12th edition of the Annual International Research Conference. It's been 12 years since we started this series of conferences. I want to extend an appreciation to our speakers this morning. Begin with Mr. Timothy Owase, and as I do so, I'll ask Professor John Ochola to come and present. Okay, thank you. I stand guided. I welcome Professor Ronald Chepkilot, our DVC, Administration and Finance, to come and present a token of appreciation to Mr. Timothy Owase for a wonderful presentation this morning. We appreciate that you took time, and your team, Mr. Owase, has not only come alone. Sir, I am aware that you have a team that accompanied you this way. They are very keen to make sure that you are here. We gift you a bag, sir, and a token in there of appreciation. Thank you. Sir, before you leave, I would also want you to also appreciate Madam Sylvia Mudasia for a very animated and informative presentation. Let's give them all a round of applause. Turn it the other way. Oh yeah, that way. Thank you. Let's give them all a round of applause. Yeah. Thank you, sir. So, yeah, that is so. So our speakers, we really appreciate your wealth of knowledge and the time you've taken to prepare, and you've enriched us. And we look forward to more fruitful engagements. This looks just but a very beautiful beginning. We may not have the opportunity maybe tomorrow, but in advance, we are grateful that tomorrow we'll be hosting Dr. Rosemary Nyaote from Desta University, and we appreciate that she has also confirmed her participation for tomorrow's plenary. We are grateful, Lou Jones and your team, for gracing this occasion. We know you have a tight schedule in Kenya, but you've taken a few hours to be with us. And again, we look forward to very fruitful engagements this afternoon and going forward. Let's give them a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. The Kenya Commercial Bank, we are grateful. I know a request was sent a while ago, you confirmed and you came. And Kenya Commercial Bank is promising to work with us for the 12th. Let's appreciate them. So thank you so much. We wish again university management to thank you, led by our Vice Chancellor, the DVCs, our registrars, for supporting this conference and all the conferences. They say everything rises and falls on leadership. This one is continuing to rise on your leadership. We appreciate you, ladies and gentlemen. Let's give them a round of applause. Special appreciation to the School of Education, led by the Dean, Professor Ngala. We thank you, sir. The General. This man commands an army called School of Education, you know, and when he says move, they move. Sir, we thank you. That's my way of appreciating your leadership. Thank you, sir. And that's cool. Dr. Ndonye for leading from the front, literally the front, you know, and being the person who is moderating the program. That's our head of department. We appreciate you, sir. Dr. Ruth Owino, please do rise up. Yeah. I believe that has said it all. Yeah? She has been working tirelessly day and night to make this happen. You're aware that our last conference was barely 6 months ago. How many months ago? Around 6 months ago. And we threw the challenge that this year we wanted to start our conferences early in the year and avoid having them all crowded towards the end of the year. She took up the challenge. In fact, it was supposed to be in April, but she said, no, let it be in March. You're up to the challenge, and we commend you for that. Thank you very much. Of course, we appreciate your organizing team within the department because I know you worked with a team. And let's also clap for the team. Thank you. Now, this one is a very special commendation, Bona DVC. I have been amazed at the level of ownership and participation by the students in the Department of Mass Communication. You have raised the bar, you have set the standard. I am planning the next conference in June. I'm already scratching my head. How can we at least come to where you are? I don't know whether we shall import some voters into the computer conference. I'm amazed that I found the students are in charge of the ushering. The students are part of the moderation. And the 16 students will be making presentations. This is awesome. This is commendable. Let's give you a round of applause. Sasa nyinyi mumekuwa ni mfano kwa wengine. I wish to appreciate all our support teams. This conference is made possible by very many people. We have our media team there, drawn from the University Marketing Department, the School of Music and Performing Arts, and also the Department of Mass Communication. The University Choir took time to prepare and present. We have the Procurement Department, the ICT Department made sure that we are online. So let's appreciate all our partners for this particular event. Yes. There is a team from the Directorate of Research, Innovation and Outreach, the research committee that oversees conferences in the university and other research activities. They are not represented here, but I wish to appreciate Faith, our administrator in the office. Please stand. Yeah, she makes all these look beautiful, ladies and gentlemen. She spends sleepless nights on this. We appreciate you, Faith. To all of you who attended, both in person and online, we thank you for taking your time to listen and engage with our speakers. We look forward to also seeing you in the sessions that are coming in the afternoon and tomorrow. The conference continues. So thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, and may God bless you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Diga, Director, Research. Clap for Daktari. Yeah. 16 presentations ili iwe funzo kwa wengine. Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for sitting up to this time. I want to just make 2 announcements before we break. All the faculty and the logistics team, your lunch is ready there at the tent. Kindly, after this, go there. I hope you already have your meal cards. Then the management and guests, they are going to have lunch at the guest house. So after this, kindly you proceed to that place. I think for now we are done. You are dismissed. And we are coming back. Remember, we are coming back after lunch. We'll be having a session with the team from the United States. Students, mass communication, you better be there. So prayers. Is Chemboy around? Yes, kindly. Daktari, come, close with the word of prayer, and pray for lunch. Okay, sorry. We are meeting here at 2. Thank you.
All right. Asante sana. This has been a very good morning, and we thank God for it. Let's all stand kindly and then pray. worship your name and thank you for the deliberations this morning. We thank you, Lord, for the information and the opportunity that we can be sharpened by one another. We thank you for the time our presenters were able to put into preparation and to come up with a good presentation. And dear Lord, as we continue in the afternoon to look into other issues within the field of media and mass communication, we ask God that you will continue to guide us, continue to make this to be a fruitful engagement. And so thank you, dear Lord, for our guests and the time you've given them to come to Kabarak University. We pray for them as they travel back, that God, you will guard them, you will protect them. And in the areas of work, we pray also that you will bless them. May you continue to bless each one of us, and may you continue to bless Kabarak University. We pray this prayer in Jesus' name. Okay. Let's thank God because of the meals, sorry. Okay. Lord, we thank you for the provision of meals. We take it with thanksgiving, knowing that there are many people, even within our nation, who have no provision for food. And so may you bless our fellowship together over a meal this lunch hour. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Thank you so much. God bless you.